All right, let's do it. We have some people here, almost 50 people. That's awesome. Yeah, if you and then if people get late, they still can catch the Q&A and watch the full thing on YouTube later. Let's go. So I'm gonna start with a brief introduction because I imagine many of you don't know who I am. My name is Gabriel Bona. I just go by Bona because it's simple and because from the country that I'm from, Brazil, there are so many Gabriels that in my entire life I just use Bona, because if you just say Gabriel, who, right? Which Gabriel? That's usually the answer over there in Brazil. So yeah, I'm a character artist. Currently, I'm working as an outsource supervisor at Sony Santa Monica. And initially, of course, I was studying to be a character artist in the games industry. And that I started studying 3D in Brazil in 2016. And then I moved to the Netherlands to work at Guerrilla in 2020. I stayed there for 2 years, and then, as many of you know, my Blizzard has been my dream since I started studying, and then I was able to achieve that dream in 2022. Was like I was over the moon. I always wanted to live in the U.S. Always like a child dream for me. So it was really great as well. And then I had such amazing opportunity here at Sony Santa Monica. It's just such an amazing opportunity that I couldn't refuse, right? So even though Blizzard will always be in my heart, now I decided to move on to new adventures and work at Sony. So I'm gonna be super brief here because a lot of the things about that I did during this process to get to the industry, to break into the industry, I'm gonna be talking according to the topics that I set out here on the presentation. And of course, I don't want to say it now, speak for half an hour, then repeat myself later, right? And then, of course, if there's anything that I miss, just ask me and I be as open as I can be on the Q&A, right? Let's go. So turning your passion into your career, right? It's not something easy, right? And nothing about it is easy. Like finding a career, finding the job that you want to have, it's extremely hard. And finding your passion, it's even harder, right? So we got to do it in steps, and we have to be patient with ourselves, because to find your passion, you need to expose yourself, right? Expose yourself to as much things, as many things as possible. Test, try different things, play instruments, play sports, sculpt, paint, play many video games, watch movies, read books, photography. So many things we can do in life. And each of those things, they're really important because every time you do something different, you learn more about yourself, right? I grew up playing a lot of video games, and I grew up drawing a lot, right? And at some point, when my mom got my first PC, and I was super young at the time, it was her computer, of course. I was like 6 years old. And I started to try stuff in the computer and just learn about. And we had Photoshop. So Photoshop was my canvas, right? Just testing stuff out, trying stuff out as a kid, like doing nothing meaningful, of course, right? If you're just a kid clicking around. But those things lead to other things, right? It's pretty crazy because after a while you can connect how things happen. But when you're exploring, you need to just do it for the sake of you have that we still have to nurture that into our later life, that have that child mentality of being open to try new things, try different things, right? For example, last year we did during the Halloween, we did pumpkin carving, right? I never did that before, and I knew that as the artist I am now, of course, I'm always demanding quality of my art, right? But I have to have that mindset that, hey, I've never done this before. I need to understand that, hey, the quality is not be what I expect of my art. So I just need to enjoy it, this new experience, right? Doing something that I never done before. And I was able to really enjoy it. But it's not easy to do that, especially late as the late you are, the harder it is to do that. So that's why it's important to nurture that mind of always explore, try new things. And the more you do it, the more you learn about it, right? And the more exposed you get, the bigger the chance of you finding that thing that clicks with you, where you say, this is it, right? That moment for me was when I discovered ZBrush. And for me, that was, and how I came to learn about ZBrush was very funny, right? Because I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do in terms of college and what I'm going to work with. I was uh, around 18 years old at the time. And then because I had experience in Photoshop, I had done like some forum works, if you guys know, like doing signatures and banners and very simple stuff in Photoshop. I thought, hey, maybe I should do graphic design, right? And that led me to go to a graphic design college. And after like I think 6 months or something, I told my mom, like, this is not it. This is not something I want to do. I discovered concept art through Fengzu at the time, and I was super excited about it, right? So I just went full heads on into drawing and watching all FZD schools videos. If you guys never watched it, please do. It's amazing. Even if you're not doing concept art, keep your mind open, learn it. Fengzu is he has so much experience and amazing information that we can absorb. So I was like super excited, right? I just, oh my God, this is amazing. This is it. And then, but at the time, I was just thinking about the industry in general. I wasn't thinking about games or movies or anything. I just found that thing that I really found like uniquely exciting. I just wanted to learn about it, right? So drawing, I just was drawing a lot. And eventually in one of his videos, he mentioned, hey, nowadays, concept designers, they're using a lot of ZBrush, right? They're getting into 3D. They're not only doing 2D and drawings, so they're moving to 3D. And then I thought, hey, maybe I should already start learning 3D early on while I learn how to draw, right? Before maybe, because in my head, I was planning to save money to go to Singapore and study at FZD, right? And then in my college, on the hallway, there was like a pamphlet showing art school back in my home city in Brazil. My home city is called Curitiba in the south part of Brazil, and that school was called Revolution, right? And they were teaching a class in ZBrush with André Castro, which is my first mentor, right? And when I discovered ZBrush for the first time, that's when everything clicked, right? Because he showed me and the entire class all the Brazilian artists that were working here in the US, like Glauco, Fausto De Martini, right? And those guys were already like super big, like huge, amazing artists. And they were doing something that, hey, I want to do this, right? I can work with games and make characters, right? And I've been always drawn to these things that I could express my creativity. So being able to create characters for video games, it was like the junction of and the fusion of both things that I loved, which was art and video games. So, but it took a while, right? To find that, I had to expose myself for 20 years of my life since a child, right? And for me, that's pretty early. So, like finding what I loved and wanted to do with my life at 20 years old, I'm very fortunate, right? And I can only give the credits for that to my family, right? My mom, my mom raised me alone as a single mom, and she always supported me, right? She never said no for the things I wanted to learn. And she led by example, because I grew up seeing her waking up super early, 5 a.m., working weekends to support our family, right? And she was the best example. She's my hero, right? I wouldn't have anything if it wasn't for her. I cannot stress this enough, right? Especially when I decided to quit college, because my mom even supported me that time, right? Imagine like your parents supporting you when you said, "Hey, mom, I just want to do this sculpting thing and quit college, and maybe in a few years I'm gonna move to the U.S. and work at Blizzard." Like that was like what I said to her at the time, right? Because and my mom just said, "Okay, I trust you, try this for a few years, and if it doesn't work, it's okay, right? You can try other things." And it is so rare, it's so rare to have someone in your life. I'm already getting emotional in the beginning of this, right? Because it is so rare, and I know it. I'm so fortunate about it. And if you guys don't have that, I know it's going to be so much harder. I know it, but I still want you guys to never quit what you believe, because you're going to find people that are going to support you, and you are going to be able to reach the things that you want to do. You are going to be able to do the things that you love, right? So going to the next one, right? Amazing. I was super happy. And maybe some of you guys are still looking for that passion and you found it, or still looking, right? And if you didn't find it already, don't worry, keep searching for it, right? So one of the things is specifically for characters, when I started studying, I just wanted to kind of learn a bit about everything. So I wanted to learn hand painted. I wanted to learn how the characters were done in early 2000s, so I could understand the beginning of the industry, right, where 3D started to become bigger, and until that point, right, 2016. So I was reading books about game dev, for example, Blood, Sweat, and Pixels, or other Jason Schreier books. I read a few books about the development of Diablo 1 and Diablo 2, because I wanted so much to be in the industry, and especially go into to Blizzard. And I just tried to immerse myself and learn as much as possible. So I was learning rigging, at least the basics, right? Trying my hand at animation. Because if I didn't try it, maybe imagine if, for example, you start doing 3D and you love it, but you never did rigging, you never did at least a little bit of animation, or you know, and then you don't know if you're gonna like it. If you expose yourself to that and try and have that open mind to experiment and learn new things, maybe you discover something that you like it even more, right? And all that knowledge is very important, because when you're working in a big game, you have to work with people from all departments. And if you have appreciation for their craft and have some knowledge, even though it's not deep as your specialty, it makes easier to connect with those people and collaborate with those people, right? Which is extremely important, especially because when we are studying to get into the industry, usually we just stay inside alone, or maybe interacting with people over the internet, and we just stay on our cave, our world, right? And when you go into the industry, it's totally different, right? So studying the industry, learning about it, talking with people that are in the industry, it's fundamental, right? You have to do that research, and it doesn't apply, of course, only for the games industry, which is the industry I'm in, but anything you want to do, find the people that are at the top of the industry, reach out, send emails, send messages, don't be afraid. The worst thing that can happen is that they're not going to answer you, but there are so many amazing people out there that someone is going to answer you, right? And that's what I did. I sent message to other people, sent models for feedback when I especially people that were doing real-time work as well, right? And just trying to understand what is important for me to learn, right? How, and just asking questions. And in that process, when you are in that wavelength, you're gonna find people that have the similar goals, right? You're gonna find people that want to do the same thing you're doing, that have the same interest. That's why it's so important to try to meet new people. I wouldn't be here as well if it wasn't for my friends, right? Our group still stands to this day. Before I joined here, I was talking with my friend, right, Gustavo, right? We were in Discord just like we were almost 10 years ago. In that regard, we're still together, right? We're still, and he's at Blizzard now as well. And it's so amazing because we would talk about it, right? Like, our dream is so far away. We're gonna be there. We're gonna be in California, right? And now we are here because we never stopped, right? We continue to do what we had to do and supporting each other, right? Doing it together. We never did it alone, right? And a funny story about, like, I remember when I started studying, right, I wanted to learn Maya because I knew how important it was to learn the technical aspects, retopology, UVs, things like that. And I went after an ebook version of the Maya book. And I was like reading a book, right, to learn about Maya. And my friend, great friend Gustavo, right, he came to me, well, man, what you're doing? Reading a book, right? Here, look at these courses, right? And it was so much better, right? So much more streamlined, so much easier to understand. I was trying to find the path, right? And he helped me through that path, right? He removed barriers. And that's why it's so important to meet people and interact with other artists and learn and ask questions and ask for feedback. And you know, so you learn so much, you grow so much. It's so important, right? And as you learn and search about it, research, and the more you find that certainty, okay, I want to work with this, right? This is what I want to do. You have to focus your study to the things that are gonna take you to that place you want to go, right? So in my case, I wanted to make games for characters for games, right? So what do I need to learn to be a character artist? Is knowing ZBrush enough? No, right? I have to learn the entire pipeline. I have to understand that the concept artist is going to make a concept, and my job is to translate that into 3D, right? So, okay, learn observation skill, how to translate 2D to 3D, right? And every time you sculpt and you use reference, you're gonna exercise your observation, right? But when you're doing a concept, it's much harder because you're trying to hit the exact point, right? And if you want to be a character artist in the industry, that's what you have to learn. And then after the sculpt, you have to learn how to do the retopo. You have to understand why you do the retopo that way, right? Not just all because someone told me I have to make the character low poly so it's not so heavy in the game, and then I have to do UVs to bake, and then do the textures, right? Learn, understand what are you doing, right? So in the beginning, I remember me and my friends, we went to São Paulo to go on a talk with Mariano Steiner, which is an amazing artist. He was working at Rockstar at the time, and he told us that the UVs from the characters on the game were squared, right? At the time, I didn't exactly understand why, but I just thought, okay, so if they're doing that in the industry, that's what I should do, right? I should do squared UVs because that's what the professionals are doing, right? And at the time, of course, I didn't understand exactly why I was doing squared. I was just doing it. And of course, the first few times I did, it wasn't that good. And especially because I didn't understand exactly, right? And as you learn more, understand more, and ask those questions, why am I doing stuff? the better you get, the more understanding you have, and then you can share that with other people, with your friends, with people that want to get into the same area as you, right? And meeting those people and getting to know those people, it's so important, like I mentioned many times already, right? And going to those events there, if you can. I know it's hard. Some events are super expensive, even like for professionals, right? They're expensive events. And sometimes you live in a place that there are no big art events, right? And that's okay. We if you can, try it, but if you can't, we have the internet. Do your best with that. Try to meet people, go into communities, discords. I don't know if people still use Facebook groups. I remember back when I was starting, Facebook groups for art were super big. Everyone shared their art there. And one thing that is great to meet new people on the same wavelength as you is doing courses, right? Doing courses with professionals. Like if you want to do a course about character, you do a course with Bruno Camera, or you do a course with Andrew Ariza, and you're going to meet all those people that also want to grow as an artist. And then you make new friends that have similar goals, and maybe you meet people that are already in the industry that can give you shine some light on stuff that you want to know, and also help you out, give feedback. So when you go searching for that learning, that growing, you're gonna find people that are similar to you. That's, at least in my experience, that what happened to me. Like when I wanted to do things and went after it, and I was interested on things, I always found people that had similar interests. Maybe I'm super lucky, right? And after many years of doing that, right, you're studying, you have goals. It's just not A to B, right? It's not just, oh, let's study, get good, get a job, right? It's so much harder than that, and especially depending on your situation, it can be easier, it can be harder. In my way, in my journey, right? I even though I was in Brazil, I was not in a country that had a developed industry. I still had a lot of privileges, right? We already, when I started, we already had many amazing Brazilian artists that did the thing that I wanted to do. That is so important, because if someone already walked that path, or at least a similar path, man, it's so much easier for you to see, okay, what should I do, right? You have someone at least to follow into their footsteps, right? And but not only that, like I mentioned, my mom was able to support me financially, so I could just focus on studying, right? I was able to have a decent computer because of that. I also had Italian citizenship, that in the future it would help me go to Europe to work at Guerrilla, right? So it's important to understand where you at, so you don't either expect things in a wrong proportion, right? If you're in a place that you have so many bad things happening, maybe you're in a country that is war is happening, right? Man, it's like so much harder. There's even no way to compare, right? And if maybe your parents do not agree, they don't like you going that way because they wanted something for you, right? And the thing is, even though the hard it can be extremely hard for you to follow your dreams, you gotta do it. You gotta do it. I don't know what you believe, or if you think there's an afterlife or whatever, but think as this life as the only one you got, right? Do not bend to whatever situation you're in. If you, as much as you can, right? Fight it. Have the heart, the courage to go after what you want and love, and listen to yourself, right? So that's why it's so important to listen to your gut. Usually people ignore their instincts because someone else that is very important in their life, maybe a parent, maybe a older sibling, or maybe a professional that you admire, they may tell you something that go against what you believe, right? You do not have to follow them, right? You have the power of reason. Think about it, question it, question yourself as well, right? Think about it and think how you're gonna feel if after decades you never pursued that thing that you wanted, right? It's much better to fail if you try than never knowing what could have happened, right? And in this process of studying, we always must remember that we are not on this journey to be an employee at a company, right? Even though Blizzard had amazing impact on my life and was a big part of why I went into the games industry, working for Blizzard is not my purpose, right? Was a goal, was a dream. Is still, I am so proud. I'm so happy to be able to work with the people that I worked with, to meet amazing people like Bird, Bird's here, and I like him so much, man. I remember watching videos of the behind the scenes from Diablo 3, and he was like already doing ZBrush sculpts, and I think that was maybe, sorry Bird if I'm getting stuff wrong here, but I think around 2012, 2013, the behind the scene videos, right? And I was like, it's so amazing. And when I met the guy, he was even better than I expected, right? So you see, the great things I take from the companies that I worked is not the company itself, it's the people, right? So that's what we have to go after. Finding those group of people and surrounding ourselves with those good people, right? Reflect on yourself so you can be part of that group and help other people and be part of those teams of amazing people, right? And those are the happy places, man. You could be at Blizzard and be miserable. That happens, right? You could be doing a super mundane job and be the happiest person in the world, because the job itself doesn't define you. You are way more than your job, right? And in this case, I am an artist first, I'm a person first, I'm a friend, I'm a son. And sometimes if the professional gets too much in front of those things, it creates imbalances in your life, right? And that's why I myself, during my process of studying, I was very imbalanced. I was completely obsessed, right? And for me, I can understand now, looking back, why I was like that, right? I needed to reach the summit of a mountain, right? I need to put my mind in a state that I could not believe in failure. So to do that, I kind of brainwashed myself into believing that I actually could do anything. And it is great because I got very good self-confidence, right? And I was able to achieve the things that I set to do. But those things also brought me a lot of bad stuff that I'm gonna talk about. Like during those periods of studying, I wasn't eating healthy. I wasn't sleeping well. I was sleeping super little, right? I was, during the weeks, I was sleeping 3-4 hours. And then during the weekends, I would take some time off to play video games and sleep more. But my exercise was very bad. For me, therapy was for crazy people or people with mental problems, right? That was the person I was like almost 10 years ago, right? I was just staying home most of the time, right? And I was in my own small world, right? And with all those years, almost 10 years, right, from this art journey, and not only art journey, but as life journey, right? As growing as an artist, as a person, I learned so much from my friends, from my wife, from my mom, from my sister. You know, my sister is 16 years old, and what I learned is that we cannot judge people, right? Because we already judge ourselves so much when we can do stuff, when we are not as rich as someone else, when we are not as good as someone else. And this is so bad for ourselves. And when we do that with ourselves and start doing that with other people, we distance ourselves from everyone, you know? And what you do is your choice. Other people don't have to make the same choices or have the same goals as you do. And that will not reduce their value, right? And this is me talking about a version of me that didn't think like that a few years ago, right? That's what I think now. It took me years to learn that. It took me mistakes. It took me burnout. It took me pain to learn that, right? And if you learn this without making the mistakes I did, you're gonna have a much easier way, right? And this is my goal, to share with you so you guys don't make the same mistake that I did, right? For example, I remember back in the day, I would be so toxic, and I would, like, the group of friends, the still same friends, glad, man, these guys are blessed, you know, they are saints because they're still my friends. You guys have no idea what I did. It's not something that you should do with friends, right? I would go into their Steam account to see if they were playing. And if they were playing, I would go back to them and say, hey, man, you don't want to go after your dream? Why are you playing, right? And I would push them. And I would say, stop being a lazy bum. Like, this is how you talk with a friend, right? No, it's not. Maybe some people took that in a good way, like a slap in the face, and they woke up, right? But acting like that is completely unnecessary. And that came a lot to me because a lot of my role models are outside of the art world. Many of my role models, not all, are from sports, a very aggressive, competitive environment. And for them, it works great. We don't know what goes on their private lives, right? We don't know the problems they have by being so competitive and by being so stiff and so rigorous with everything in their life, right? I learned that the hard way, right? So we must challenge ourselves. We must push ourselves and try to push our friends and the people that we love, but in a kind way. We don't need to be aggressive. We don't need to insult. We don't need to diminish them or diminish anything they do. We don't need that, right? We can push ourselves together in a better, kinder way, right? And the start of that is leading by example, right? And not judging, right? You don't need to do what I do, right? You don't need to make the same choices. And this is not a struggle that is done, right? Oh, I don't struggle with that anymore. No, this is daily work, right? This is something we have to self-reflect daily. We do that every single day. Okay, I thought that. I'm judging him for what? Like, I'm making the same mistakes. He's not living my life. She's not living my life. I cannot judge her because she's doing something different, right? Or because she's making choices that I wouldn't make, right? That's why self-reflection is so important. Because if you don't do that and you go deep into that, you're just gonna push people away. And we don't want to push people away, right? And that's why, for example, I really like running. I really like training, right? And in running, we have the 80-20 method, right? Where 80% of the training is in a moderate effort, like zone 2 heart rate, right? We have a few zones of heart rate. And zone 2 is a light to medium workout, right? And then 20% of the time, you're pushing, you're reaching those limits, right? If you only do that, you're gonna burn out like I did, right? I burned out just as I joined Guerrilla. Imagine you achieve the dream of breaking into the industry and you're already burned out and you never worked a single day in your life. So I don't want that for you guys, right? I don't want you guys to think about quitting art, right? And it's not that hard. It's not that hard to avoid that. So push yourself, but take that time to rest. Rest. If you push too much, shit breaks. Everything is like that in life. If you push your car too much, it breaks. If you push your bike too much, it breaks. If you push yourself too much, it breaks. But then again, you have to push yourself at least 20%, right? Otherwise, we don't grow. We have to push ourselves at least that amount, right? So get out of your comfort zone, but don't leave there. You don't need to leave on your comfort zone. Go back to the comfort zone, reflect, learn, rest, take time for important things, socialize, play those video games. It's fine, but be conscious. Don't lose yourself. If you want to play games, there is no problem. The problem is that if that becomes your life, if you only play video games, you stop talking with people, you don't study anymore, you don't exercise, you just play video games, then where are you going, right? So having things in balance is the way forward, right? It's just like wine. Drink one a day, it is good for the heart. Drink a lot, and you're done, right? It's going to be terrible for you, right? And then again, being from that role models from competition and things like that, I reflected a lot about this. And competition is not bad. Like life is surrounded by competition. Everything in life is some type of competition. It's how it is. But it does not need to be toxic. You do not need to create enemies on your head, right? You do not need to be envious or pissed off when somebody gets something you wanted. You don't need that. You need to use those competition and that motivation to bring the good stuff, right? You see someone doing an artwork or getting the job that you wanted. All right, nice for him. That's great, right? Look at his art. Let me learn with his art, right? And so this is the type of thing, right? And helping people. If you're competing with your friends, which we are competing with our friends, but I don't want to see them fail, right? I had that mindset, but not with my friends, right? But I remember having that mindset when I was studying. I want to be so good that people are gonna quit, you know? That was the mindset that I had. I'm so good that people are gonna quit because they're gonna see how good I am and they're gonna say, I cannot do that. No, no. If you see me and you see great artists, you can do that. That's the thought, right? You can do that, not the contrary, right? I want to be so good that I can teach people, that I can show people that can be great, they can be better than me, right? And that's what I'm doing here. I want you guys, everyone here, to be better than me, right? So, and this is not that is possible. It's a certainty that I have, right? Everyone here that is watching can be great. And if somebody tells you that you can't, block the noise, right? Well, I think enough of me talking about this. And I really like to hear back from you questions, and I can answer as much as possible. And if you guys want to follow and see some of my other art and the content I create, just follow me on socials. And yeah, I hope you guys could learn, enjoy, and had a good time here. And hopefully, I was able to add stuff to your life. Thank you.
Oh, we got a few people requesting to speak. I assume they have questions, so why don't we put one on? Is it Lily?
Hi, Lily. How's it going?
Hi, how's it going? Oh, yeah, I'm doing well. But yourself, how you doing?
I'm great. I'm great.
Well, first of all, thank you for the presentation. That was exactly what I needed to hear, to be honest with you. So thank you very much for being here today. I have two small questions if I could quickly go through them, if that's okay with everyone here
Oh yeah.
on the speaker. Okay, great. So I guess first things first. I'm actually currently a student at Think Tank Training Center. I'm actually a character and creature artist studying there. And I'm brand new to 3D. I realized quickly after attending, like Think Tank has a lot of artists that have already been doing art for years and a lot of 3D. And my background is in history and business. I did not do any art. I am, brand new to this entire venture, but I've always had a passion for games and film for a very, very
Yeah.
long time. And so I guess my kind of more a kind of a general question, but how do you maintain? You kind of tapped into it during your talk, but for me, whenever I'm working on what I'm with what with what I'm learning, like what I'm studying and practicing with, I feel good in the moment. I'm like studying it, I'm figuring it out, I'm doing research, I'm doing practice sculpts. But when I look up and see people around me, like a think tank, for example, I become completely just defeated. I feel very defeated. And so I guess my question is, how do you overcome that? Because I'm very competitive. I like to, give my all and see where I can go. But when I know that I'm so far behind in the race of getting to that
Hmm.
point, how do you maintain your confidence and your fight?
That's a great question. Yeah, and you're saying that because when you look at their work, you think their work is much better than yours. Is that it?
Oh, by a long shot. I mean, they've done 3D art usually for 3 to 4
Okay.
years. They painted, they've drawn, and I haven't done any of that before. So it's just hard.
There you go. You need to reflect on that because hey, you're just beginning, right? You cannot begin on the same level they are, right? You're gonna get there. You're gonna, if you want, you're gonna surpass even that, right? Get even further. But you have to be patient with yourself. I think especially how everything is in our lives nowadays, it's very hard to be patient because
Hmm.
we are bombarded with information all the time, right? Social media everywhere. You see some artists, amazing artists, younger and younger and younger, and it's just like I'm almost 30 years old now. I'm 29, and I see people with 18 years old. They're better than me, right? I'm just, oh Jesus. But then it's okay. It's okay, right? We all have our journey. We don't need to compare ourselves with other people. We just need to do our best every day, right? If you are doing your best, don't worry, you're gonna get there, right? But you have to understand one thing that I always try to keep in mind to make sure I'm getting better is always have that in mind. My work may be good, but it's never enough, right?
Yeah.
It's good, but not good enough, right? This way, I keep always the door open for getting better. Because there is a point if you get overconfident or even
Hmm.
arrogant and you think, I'm the best, I cannot get better. You will not, right?
Yeah. Yep.
and and sometimes your mind is gonna tell you, oh my god, your work is great. Sometimes your mind is gonna tell you that, like, especially when you get that big step up where you clearly see your growth.
Hmm.
Your mind is gonna tell you that you're amazing, right? I actually mentor at Think Tank, right?
You do?
And
Oh,
yeah, I
wow.
do. Yeah, I teach there. And some of my students, they, oh my god, I thought my work was good. And then after you showing the anatomy issues and the things, I can see way more clearly, and I understand that I wasn't seeing clearly before, right? And but this is
Hmm.
not apply
Yeah.
only for students. This applies for everyone, right? Even for me and for everyone else. We may think something is good. Watch out, maybe it's not, right?
It's a trap. Yeah, that's very
Yeah,
much a
it's a
trap to
trap,
avoid.
exactly. Yeah, so keep on your path, do your thing, keep learning, never quit, continue studying, take care of your health, right? Block out the social. right? You're gonna study.
I'm
Leave
already
the cell
doing
phone
that.
there.
I'm
Yeah.
already blocking things out.
Perfect. Perfect.
Like, why?
You're
It's like,
doing
why
what you have to
suffer?
do.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Social media is great because it increases our reach. It makes us able to engage with other artists. But just like the wine, if it's too much, it becomes detrimental, right? So we have to dose it and be very conscient about it. Yeah, which is hard.
Absolutely.
For me, for everyone. Yeah.
If I still have time, can I ask my second question, or is that not
Oh
okay?
yeah.
I
Go
want to be
ahead.
rude
Go
to
ahead.
everyone else here. Okay. My second question is actually about art style. So again, I'm brand new, so I have not had the time, or I guess like quote unquote the luxury, to figure out like what's going to be my style, what's going to be my approach to
Uh-huh.
things, my own pipeline. And for me, I'm definitely interested in both games and film. I honestly picked games at Think Tank because there's just more studios, but
Mhm.
like I love both equally. I can't just pick one. But I have an interest in doing more animals and creatures as well as like anthro
Mhm.
characters, like traditional anthro.
Yeah.
And so I guess in your opinion, in the game industry, I've been kind of asking around everyone that I talk to that has experience and knows this. I see a lot of hyper realism at Think Tank, for example, which is not a bad thing. That's a great thing to know how to do, realistic skin, realistic looking fur. But I'm
Yeah, but
kind
it's
of in
not
this in
what you want
between
to do.
zone. I'm
Yeah.
in this in between zone where I want to do like
Mhm.
semi realism. So I guess my question
Yeah.
is like, how do you figure out where you want to go, but also balance out what the industry wants, and how do you kind of find that happy marriage in between?
Yeah. The first thing that you wanna answer, that you should answer, is what you like, right?
Yeah.
The first thing. And follow that. And then the rest comes. If you try to fit too much into the industry, you are losing part of yourself, right?
Mm.
And this happens a lot. And it's like, if you tell me what's the most efficient way for me to join Blizzard, I'm gonna tell you the most efficient way for you to join Blizzard as a character artist. You do this: you find the concept artist from Blizzard, you get their concept, and you do it, and you do the same quality as the artist there. That's the fastest way, right? You study until you get the same quality. But is it what you really want? If that's the case, amazing, perfect. You just have it's the perfect storm, right? You the fastest way is the way you want, right?
Sure.
For me, that was not the case. Like, I wanted to create my characters. I love designing. I like designing my characters. As a character artist, you don't design characters usually unless it's
You just make what you see.
very specific. Yeah, you always working from a concept. But if you look at my portfolio, I never did work from a concept on my portfolio. So I did a path that is not the most efficient, but because I did with so much love, so much passion, I was able to achieve the goal that I want extremely fast. Maybe faster than if I chose the other one to do the supposed fast path, So follow your gut. Follow your gut. And if you're not sure, try other things, right? If you're not sure, try other things. And also remember, you are allowed to like multiple things. If you like doing realism, and if you like doing cinematics, and if you like doing games, kind of the same amount, do everything. Just not at once, of course, but do everything. Yeah, do everything you like. Don't let the industry tell you what you should do. Like, do what you love, and the industry is gonna want you because you show your passion through your work. I think that's the best advice I can give.
Well, that's awesome to hear, because like I definitely think in the mindset of a storyteller. Like I have a writing background. I write a lot, so to hear that, even
Amazing.
from that point of view, like I like writing screenplays. I write all the time, so that's good to hear. So I appreciate your insight on that. Thank you so much for your time.
No, thank you for your question. Yeah, thank you so much.
Cool.
Let me hear. Let me see the question
Do you
here
want to go
from
in
our
order?
friends. Sorry, what's that?
Sorry, did you want to go in order? I can help you if you like, or you got it.
Yeah, can you? Oh, yeah, we can. Would you mind reading the question from our friend before?
Yeah, sure.
It's a bit long, right? But do you mind maybe just making a bit shorter the question?
If you wanted to, we can go from Lily, and then there's in order from there at the top.
Yeah, sure.
I can help if you want. I know it's a bit difficult with all these messages. So we have a question in writing, and then we'll move to Ahmed who wants to speak. So from Koa Rin, they say, curious what you think about game jams, especially the year-long ones.
Okay, about game jams. Well, I think it's amazing experience, right? I think maybe a year long is a bit too long, right? I'm not 100% sure, but game jams is such an amazing opportunity. And if you are thinking about it, do it. Do it, because if you don't, you are always gonna have that thing on your head. Ah, man, I should have done it. So just do it. You're not gonna regret it. Worst case scenario, you can quit, and it's not the end of the world, right? So you try it. I think it's nice. You're gonna meet a lot of people. It's very, very up close. You have the opportunity to wear many hats and do things you would never do during production. I remember back at Blizzard, they would do game jams, and I do miss not participating, right? Because it's so awesome, and I wish I had. But at the time that I joined, the game jam was finishing. I couldn't join, and then by the time the other one came, I already have left. I had left the studio. But yeah, man, that's something I still have to do, participate in a game jam. Next one, it's Ahmed, my friend, my brother. Is it you?
Hello,
Hey, man, how's it going?
Bona, what's up?
All good, man. Better
How
now
are
with
you?
you, man.
Habibi. I just wanna shortly talk about. I'm already a concept artist in the gaming industry, and I joined
A
Think
good
Tank.
one. A very good
Habibi,
one.
wallah. Habibi. I joined Think Tank because I wanted to have a mentor from Blizzard. Before joining Think Tank, I was talking to maybe 40 artists. I already told Bona that. Talking to 40 artists from Blizzard, but no one replies. And I write to them in ArtStation and LinkedIn, nobody replies. This is in a span of 4 years. 40 years, oh my God, in 4 years. And when I was in the mentorship program, we had to find a mentor. And my teacher in the third term told me about Bona, his friend. He told me, I have a friend. He's crazy. He's a psycho. He works like a madman. He said everything bad about Bona. And I thought, yes, this is my mentor. I want this guy. And I immediately, in the class, I opened a new tab. I wrote to Bona, Bona, can you please mentor me? I'm with your friend, and he told me about you, and he said you are da 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 da. And Bona immediately, he replied to me, yes, I want to do it. Let's do it. Let's talk on Discord. And it was really a crazy experience because before that, 40 people didn't reply. And this guy from the first time tells me, yes, I'll do it. And he said some really nice things that I cannot say. But this man is better than what you see in real. He's really this guy, even when no one knows, yeah, when no one sees. He's humble. Man. Habibi, wallah. He's humble. He wants to help. And I'm really glad I met him because he showed me that there are people who reach very high goals who are still very, very good people. And yeah, he basically just changed my view in a lot of things. I don't have a question. I can ask you in our private time, anything. But I just wanted to let everybody know that this man is a really, really good man.
Thank you, man. And you are, man. And honestly, you are overindulging me. I'm not that great, and I'm just like everyone else. I make a lot of mistakes that I regret, and this is life, right? We are in it together, and we just have to help each other. Like I mean, I'm taking money to my grave. I don't think so, right? So that's not my goal, right? I have bigger goals, and I think everyone here is part of that. So
yeah,
you are part of that as well, man.
Thank you, bro. Wish you all the best.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You too, man. Love you.
Kick me out of the stage. I don't know how to leave.
Yeah, it's a bit slow.
That's Nikita.
Yeah, I've
Okay,
clicked
okay,
it,
okay.
but it
All
takes a
good.
bit of time. There you go. That was very sweet, though.
All good.
Cool. You all right with the next question, or do you want me to help?
How do I do it? Actually, I have no clue.
It's all right. So the next question was from Nabir Khan. Sorry if I butcher your names. Do you have any advice for someone that wants to break into the US 3D industry? Can a really good portfolio get you there? I imagine having at least 3 to 4 years of experience is essential.
Yeah, experience, of course, is super important, right? One of the reasons actually for me to go to Guerrilla first was because I wanted to ship a game to increase my chances to get a visa for the US because it's so hard, right? I was lucky because I was hired during the pandemic, and during the pandemic, they did a lot of over hiring all over the industry. Like it was the best time to come to the US because they were over hiring in basically all the studios, right? Of course, unfortunately, it led to a lot of layoffs that we've seen in the past year and a few years. But well, I was lucky to not be laid off as well, and I was hired during that time. But yeah, if you want to come to the US, I always recommend getting as much experience as you can, especially shipping a AAA game if you can, right? Nowadays, it's much better because you can work with outsourced studios and you go into the credits of the games. Back in the days, they would not credit any vendor, any outsourced studio, or any outsourced artist. And nowadays, the industry is using way more outsource and it's crediting everyone from those studios, right? So much easier to get your name on credits. And depending on where you live, maybe that's your only option, but it's a good option. Yeah.
Cool, thank you.
Oh, England is great. England, you have so many options for studios, and also you are in Europe, so you can you have a lot of great studios all over Europe. Yeah, but if you want to move to the US, I would always recommend shipping a game in a AAA studio or maybe or a studio, indie studio with well, that is making a nice game that you find interesting and like it, and then thinking about trying to move to the US because getting the visa is a bit annoying. I know.
Cool. Next we have a speaker. I'm going to invite to speak.
Awesome.
Oh, hey. Hello. Ahmed.
Hello.
I'm also from Bahrain, by the way. I just graduated think tank actually, like a month ago. So I don't really have a question. It's more of a seeking advice on
It's a question. It's all good.
What do I do? You know, like now that I'm done, like how do I break in, right? I'm an environment artist, by the way. I'm not in characters, but I mean, still applies, right?
Oh yeah, of course.
I've been just
Definitely.
applying to jobs for like the past 3 weeks, and it's annoying to look at LinkedIn all the time. That's all. It feels like
Oh
at
yeah.
a certain point, it feels like you've seen every job like opportunity on LinkedIn. You know what I mean? Like when you're searching for concept art on ArtStation and you've seen like half the website. It's basically the same thing right now. I'm like, I'm not entirely sure on where to go next, right? So.
Yeah. So if you know the style you like, if you know exactly the type of work you want to do, I think that your path is going to be more straightforward, right? Because you went through the exploration phase, you found the thing that you love, and what you have to do is just get better, study, produce more projects, and keep doing it. Like to join Guerrilla, I applied 3 times. Each time I applied, I had a new personal project in my portfolio, right? So it's just that repetition And a good thing is that you are already applying. That's amazing. Continue doing your work, your personal job, personal work, personal projects. Once you finish another personal project, apply for the same studios or other studios as well, because in the studios, we see people that are applying multiple times and getting better each time, right? And it's rare. Let me tell you, it's rare. It's rare to see people that get better and keep applying multiple times. Like, if you do that, you're gonna set yourself apart a lot. So just keep on that track, just doing your personal work, finish, apply it again, another personal work, study, learn, push yourself, think about challenges you can put in personal work so you can get better, right? And that's it. It's like this cycle, right? And you should be doing because you like it, right? Not I understand, depending on the situation you are, you really need a job. That's totally understandable, right? But you need to really like what you're doing. It's just the nature of the industry. It's so hard to join an industry if you are not super passionate about it. It's so much harder. But if you have that passion, man, you're gonna get there. You're gonna get there. Just keep pushing.
I'm trying my best here. Like
There
my
you go.
country here doesn't really have studios or like
Oh
games
yeah,
or
I
films
understand,
really.
man.
So I'm
Yeah.
like, it's kind of annoying just to like have, you know,
Be patient.
to be fair, I am doing my own work as well. Like I
Yeah.
didn't stop, right? But
Oh yeah. Yeah, be patient, keep doing your work, and it's gonna happen. For me, it took a while, right? I had good work on my portfolio, and I didn't get any opportunities. It took a while, right? So you have to keep applying, keep doing. It's gonna happen. Just don't stop, right?
all right, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for your question.
Thank you. So I'm gonna read out this a long message. Actually, I think it's quite a nice message. So I just wanted to say thank you for the talk. It was very enjoyable. I wanted to ask you something about your mindset and the way you approach your studies. I related so much to your story of self-discovery. I had the same click moment you had when you found out about the world of concept art. It was sort of inspiration and motivation that I hadn't ever felt at the point in time. That was about 2 years ago. If I understand correctly, you are self-taught, correct? How did you go about it? So that's kind of the first part of the question. Maybe start from there.
Yeah. So yeah, you can say that I'm self-taught, but actually, I don't think so, because like I discovered ZBrush from a Revolution school back in Brazil, and I had my first mentor was André Castro, and then my second mentor that I was studying anatomy in ZBrush was Rafael Souza. So yeah, I don't think I don't like saying I'm self-taught, right? And of course, I don't have a college degree, right? But I did a lot of courses, right? I watched Frank Zen courses. I watched Adam Scott courses. I watched all the courses that I could. And so I don't feel like I'm self-taught, but I get what you mean, right? I didn't have I didn't go to a like classical school, right? Where I have assignments, where I have to get a degree or anything. Yeah, I didn't do that. But in terms of self-taught, right? If you don't have anything external making you do things, you have to create your routine, right? You have to plan your day, plan your rest, plan your time of entertainment. You have to plan your life so everything is organized. And it's hard to follow that, but the more you try, the easier it gets. Eventually it becomes your life. You just becomes that person that loves the routine, right? And it's so crucial if you're like doing the thing kind of yourself and not following like a structured system. But yeah, we have a second part of the question.
Yeah. This bit isn't much the question, but I think you could definitely help. I think they're stuck at the middle at the minute with some personal stuff they're going through. So I'm not going to reveal too much, but in short, courses and studying art online or at college is an absolute no-go and no-go according to my parents, and they are steadfast in forcing me to study something I don't care about. I have approximately a year and a half left before I have to go to college, so my master plan was to get to a master industry ready level before I go to that point in time, inspired by Mark Brunette and Cynics primarily. Great YouTubers. Since I'm here, you could probably guess how that's going. I'm not industry ready. Actually, I'm even worse than that. I struggle a lot with motivation. I have this thing where I work super hard for a period and then I go too lax for a while. So that results in a plateau. And then the time limit adds more stress.
Oh yeah, I see. Okay. Perfect. Yeah, I read the rest. Yeah.
Cool.
No, I totally. Yeah, man, this is there you go. Like your situation, it's more complicated, right? And you understand that. But the thing is, like maybe instead of having those periods of hard study and then getting tired and getting kind of burnt out, right? Try to do that, like structure your study in a shorter amount, but spread out throughout your week, right? If you do that, it's gonna be easier to manage over a long period. And it's complicated that if you have to do something you don't like, but then again, if you have to go to a college and get a degree because your parents demand of it, do not quit what you love. Keep drawing. Eventually, you're going to be able to turn that into your profession, right? There will be times where you're going to self-doubt, where it's going to be tough to keep doing it, but set that it's better to do a little bit than not do it, you know? So try to get consistency instead of amount of time per day or working super hard, you know? Be consistent in working every day, just a little bit. And once it becomes that very strong habit, you're going to take that for your life. And then it's just that mental fight to keep that goal alive, right? You gotta keep doing. And it's gonna be eventually there's gonna be a time where your parents cannot tell what you should do, right? There eventually that time happens. And then if it takes that long, well, it may take, if you keep doing it, it's fine. You're gonna be able to get there, right? So that's the most important thing. And watch out, don't burn yourself like that. Be structure your studies in shorter periods throughout the week, throughout the month. Have a focused study. So I'm going to study anatomy here, I'm going to study like fisheye perspective, I'm going to study objects, cars, I'm going to do color studies from paintings and things like that. And then I think it's going to be much better for you long term. But don't quit, man. Don't quit.
Thank you.
No, and don't be sorry for being so long. It's totally fine, man. And your work is really going well. You are on the right path, man. So keep going, please. The art world needs you to keep going.
Thank you.
I can clearly see you should be following that, man.
That was really great. Well, it's great to have you here. You all right to still do some more?
Oh yeah, well, if we have more questions,
we do.
I'm down. I just don't know if it's too late for you, Nikita.
Oh no, don't worry about me. I'm fine.
I don't want to keep you. You good?
Yeah.
Yeah, let me know, please. I don't want to keep you so late.
No, don't worry about it. I'm a night owl. I sleep in the morning. It's fine.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh good.
So we have Aria, sorry if I pronounce the names wrong, who would like to speak.
Oh yeah, let's do it. Hello. You're muted.
Hello.
There you go. Hello.
Thank you for coming here today, and I really was excited for this event. And my question is, did you go straight from Blizzard, or did it take getting into other game studios first? Or if you did go straight from Blizzard, how long did it take you from the moment you decided to study art until the day you were accepted at Blizzard?
Yeah, no, I went to Guerrilla before. It's the studio that makes Horizon Forbidden West, Horizon Zero Dawn. I don't know if you know it. They make Killzone as well. I went there for 2 years. So I studied 4 years since the beginning. And then I got the job at Guerrilla, and I stayed there for 2 years. So for me from starting my studies, knowing what 3D was until I got to Blizzard, it was 6 years. Yeah, but it wasn't my first. I never wanted Blizzard to be my first studio because I knew how hard it was to go into the US and get the visa. I wanted to ship a game in another studio before.
See, so a matter of 6 years with courses, and as I heard it from your friend, mad working.
Yeah. It's I think it's a quite short time, but then again, it's like we all have different circumstances, right? So I don't think it's a good parameter to compare yourself to or think about it, because you just have to do your thing, right? It doesn't matter how long it takes, just do it. If you keep doing it, you're gonna get there. And I wasn't focusing on being like as fast as possible. I just wanted to do so much, and I kept doing until it happened, right? So does that answer your question?
Yeah, I'm definitely planning to get an art degree because I would feel not self-assured if I don't feel like the people that are up there are teaching me what humanity has to offer. So
yeah, I mean, if
the time.
Yeah, I mean, the degree to get in the industry, it's not really relevant. Like, you don't need a degree to work in the gaming industry, right? Me and Gustavo here, we don't have a degree. I don't know if Bird has a degree, but he can shout out. But my friend Marco also doesn't have at least not art-related degree. So you don't need a degree to get into professional art. That's a good thing. But depending on where you are, getting a degree is going to give you a lot of good friends, a good network, a lot of proximity to the industry, right? But in my case, in Brazil, it made no sense for me to go to college if I wanted to work with games. So it all depends on your case, right?
I see. Thank you. Yes, that answers my questions. Thank you very much.
No, thank you. Yeah, thanks for your question.
Thank you. Really quick question from Lily. Are you online or on campus? You haven't answered this, have you?
Yeah, it's only online. I do online mentorship on Think Tank. Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't take any extra students this term, but next one I'll be getting more mentees for next term.
Cool. Next one's from Naomi. How do you keep consistently motivate? No, sorry. How do you keep consistent motivation and do not reach burnout? I have almost manic moments of productivity where all the ideas flow and I can get everything down, but then there's a pretty long periods where it's all fatigue.
Yeah, well, I mean, I can tell you now how to avoid it, because I got it, right? I had burnout. Like I said, I burned myself out before getting into the industry. So to get into the industry, it's not necessary, right? It's just that I didn't think about other aspects of life, and I just focused on doing art as much as possible. And to avoid that, it's really important to structure your life and put value on things that are not related to actually doing art, because as an artist, we are using our mind all the time, and we need to have a healthy mind. So going to therapy, having someone to talk about it, a professional to talk about it, like separating time for exercise, to take your mind off your work and not think about art, think about other things, have some idle time where you just rest and look at the ceiling. That's fine. That's important, right? Like my friend says, just sit on the sofa and cut your toenail, right? That time is important for our mind, like my friend Gustavo says. And this is really important. It sounds funny, right? But it's important because our mind is not made to keep doing the same thing nonstop, repeatedly, because we get super tired, burned out. It's impossible to keep motivation long term like that. And long term, if you follow that structure to keep your motivation, here goes the thing that I learned that helps me the most is surround yourself with people that want to grow as well, right? If you have people that are excited about living and having an exciting life and doing things and improving and getting better, you're gonna become like that. That's why my wife is like that, right? I would not marry her if she wasn't a person that inspires me and pushes me to be a better person, right? So and that's, you have to be like that. You have to have this criteria and be very selective with the people you surround yourself. Like you go to, like, let's say Monsterpalooza, right? The event that happens here in California, and then, oh my God, it's impossible to not be inspired, right? It's so many amazing people, so many amazing artists. And you go to like Lightbox, and that's like getting to this community of art is really nice. And block out the negative stuff and focus on be patient with yourself, respect yourself. We are not robots, right? So rest, have your entertainment, watch a movie, play your game, eat your pizza. Just don't overdo anything, right? Keep it balanced, keep it chill.
Cool. We have a speaker.
Right. Hello, Yuri. How's it going, man?
Hello, can you all hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Loud and clear.
So hello, Bona. I just wanted to say that you are one of the greatest inspirations on art for me, at least. I'm a Brazilian, same as you. I listened
There
to
you go.
your podcast on Revolution, and that was the reason I started studying 3D, was because of you. I just wanted to
Oh
say
man, thank you.
how
Thank
much
you
of
so much.
inspiration you are for me. So my question is, after you learn the basics of 3D, anatomy, of course, for topology, UVs, all of that, how can I create a project of a game character that stands out, on ArtStation, for example, like actually shows my skills to help me, achieve my goals and, for example, enter the video game industry? Because
Yeah.
should I find a crazy concept art, or what should I look for?
Yeah. So the thing about choosing a concept art, right? If you like that, and that's better if you choose a concept to follow. But then again, if you want to design, you should do what you want and love, right? But it's gonna make it harder because to get, like I said, to get into the industry, you have to translate 2D concepts into 3D. So doing that is gonna make your life easier when applying. But I'm not sure if that's what you really love doing, right? That's not my case. I don't love translating 2D concept. That's why I don't do that, right? But for me, that kind of didn't make it harder because I joined Guerrilla, and Guerrilla was like more outsource supervisor role, and I still work as an outsource supervisor, so I'm not a character artist, right? I do character art, that's my passion, right? But in my job, I do more broad things and manage multiple assets and everything. But if you want to get like set yourself apart with your projects in ArtStation or any other site, you have to put the little tiny efforts in small things in everything. You have to be very precious, right? We don't want to be a perfectionist in our life, right? Because that blocks us a lot. But you have to put a lot of effort in everything you do, right? Like the presentation, the all the textures, the UVs. I know like sometimes doing UVs and retopo can be a bit boring, but if you show that you're doing it with a lot of attention and care and love, that shines through your work, right? And in the end, even though sharing your work and having it viewed on ArtStation is great, the most important thing is applying to the studios you want, because that's guaranteed gonna get people looking at your job, at your work, guaranteed. So keep doing it like I did, like finish one project, apply again. Finish one project, apply again, and keep doing until they cannot deny anymore and they just give up, right? They just give up. Like, this guy, he really wants it, right?
Yes.
So that's the I have to show you really want it. And I did some crazy stuff I didn't tell here, but one crazy stuff that I did, I know all my friends know it, but a lot of people don't. Like, if on my neck here I have material from Diablo, right? On my neck. This is the first tattoo I ever did, right? And I did right before I traveled to the US in 2019 to go to BlizzCon. And I did this because I wanted to show how much I love the franchise, because I really do love Diablo, right? And I wanted to go to the charity dinner because Blizzard directors were going to be on that dinner, right? I wanted to meet them and show them how much I want that. So I saved money from work I did to buy the ticket to the US and the BlizzCon ticket, which we had to go into Revolution, right? This art school, open like 20 computers to try to get that ticket because it's so hard to get it, right? And then after getting that ticket and getting the tattoo and traveling to the US, like I basically took the money from freelance and did the tattoo, bought the tickets, and went to the US. And I spent like 3 hours talking with John Miller, which is the art director for Diablo, right? He's still at Blizzard. He's such a great guy. And I remember my goal was just to get in there and show people who I was, right? Because I was so far away. It was so hard. And I asked him, what are you looking for when you're looking to hire someone to work on Diablo? And he pointed that I'm not creating a story here, okay? I have friends that can confirm that. He pointed the finger, and you can talk with John, he remembers. He pointed the finger at me and said, you, right? So that to me was enough. I wasn't being hired or getting a proposal or anything. That was years before I was going to join Blizzard, like, right? So like 3 years from getting hired to that point to getting hired at Blizzard. But that was so important, right? And that happened because I showed myself. And so as much as you can, show yourself, put yourself out there, make sure people are seeing you. Post it on all social medias you can. Apply to all the relevant positions that you think it's relevant for you, right? Just be out there. You cannot just hide your work, right? And wait for something to happen, because it won't happen. That's the truth. You can be amazing and something would never happen if you don't show stuff.
Of course. Thank you so much for answering my question. If I can be so bold, how do I apply to enter a mentorship with you? Just for curiosity.
I'm not doing private mentorships yet because I need my green card first.
Sure.
Probably next year I'm gonna start doing private mentorships. I'm gonna post it on my socials, so just keep an eye out. But for now, I'm just working with Think Tank, and I don't take many people because I just don't have as much time as I wanted. So I just take a few here and there students, mentees on Think Tank, and and then probably next year I'm gonna start doing private mentorships, and just keep an eye out, and you're gonna know it.
Yes. Thank you so much, Bona. Thanks.
Yeah, no, my pleasure, man. Thanks for asking.
Thank you. Cool. We only have
any more questions or?
Yeah, we have a few more, not too many more, I think.
Okay.
So one from
Let's go.
A or I, I'm not sure. Hi, I'm currently studying animation. I'm kind of new to this field, but I want to get good. Thing is, I have a lot of interests like 2D, 3D, VFX, BG artist. I think it's good to have a broad spectrum, but trying to get good at everything is eating me alive.
Mm-hmm.
Got any advice?
Yeah, it's so many things, right? And it's super overwhelming. You just have to take it slow, you know. And you have to respect your time. Not everybody learns the same way. So as you study, you learn the ways that you learn best, right? So learning how to learn, it's funny, right? But this is so important. Some people need to write stuff by hand. Some people need to speak out loud. So learning how you get that knowledge faster is part of the all that learning process, right? But if you're studying animation and there's so much things to learn, go slowly. Start from the basic. You know, maybe just learn how to animate a bouncing ball or something very simple, right? And you get those simple tasks and you start gradually making it a bit more complex. So if I were to put this in terms of characters, right? So you start doing a bust instead of full body character, right? And then after that, you do a torso with arms as a study. And then after that, you do a full body character. So you are progressively making it more complex. Because the second time is already the second time you're doing all that stuff you did before, plus the new things. So it's just that. Don't go like from it's like don't go from running 1 kilometer or 1 mile to running 20, right? It's progression. Like make sure it's small steps, you know, small steps, small incremental steps. Try to be very thoughtful about this. Like write it down, plan your project, plan your study. Okay, I'm gonna study this and this, and then later I'm gonna put everything that I learned, and I'm gonna add another thing to that, right? Like, oh, now my character is gonna learn hair, so I'm gonna do the hair, and now I want to learn a new workflow for a certain thing, right? And then you make a character, but you add that thing different. And for learning anything is the same process, right? Just getting that solid base and iterate upon it and making it a little bit more complex each time. This way, it's not like such a punch in the face and oh Jesus Christ, it's overwhelming, right? It's just take it slow.
Cool. We have Lily for another question, and then we'll have one more speaker after that, and I think we'll call it in. Actually, no, I think it's just Lily.
Mm-hmm.
No, just Lily. There was someone else, but I think just Lily, and then we'll call it there.
Yeah, I'll just answer then after that, just the question that Gustavo sent there, because I think it's really relevant.
Oh, sorry, did I miss one?
With Lily.
Do you want to answer that one first? I'm happy to let that guy go first for the question if you want to do that one. On the side chat.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely. So Gustavo asks if I can talk a little bit about soft skills and how important they are for the industry. Yeah, that's an amazing question. I was talking with him about that before. It's great because I almost kind of forgot about it. And this is like fundamental, right? We, as an artist, we usually stay a lot inside. We are not in that environment of interacting with a lot of people. And then we are thrown into a studio, right? You're in your home and then you join a studio, right? In a studio, we are dealing with a lot of people, right? People from different backgrounds, different cultures, people that respond in different ways. So you have to have that understanding that, hey, adapt yourself to the environment, right? Be like water, adapt yourself and think about the stuff you're going to say. Think about the people around you. Be kind, help people out, right? Do your best. And because sometimes that joke you do with your friend from the same country that you're from, it's fine. And if you do in a company back in your country, it's going to be totally fine. But then you do that joke here in the US, or you do that joke in Europe, oh man, you're in a heap of trouble. So, understanding that, it's really important. And also understanding that choose your fights, right? There are things that are not worth it fighting for in your work. You're just gonna create animosity and bad relation for something that don't matter too much, right? Like, let's say, for example, you want to do a certain character, right? And you ask for it, and they give the character to another artist, and you go there and say, "Hey, but I asked first," and then you go to your lead, and then after you get a feedback, you get offended from the feedback, and then you report because you got a feedback that you didn't like, and report to human resource. You don't need to do that, right? Like, be someone that is easy to work with, right? Facilitate others people's job. I think that's something that is really important, right? Especially in my job, where I'm a supervisor, I'm a facilitator. I'm not an individual contributor, I'm a facilitator. So I am helping the internal team, right? So in my case, where I work at SMS, I'm always going back to Josiah, to Glauco. They're the go-to people on the internal character team. So we're always working together, but I feel like I'm supporting them. I'm not the main character. I want to shine, doesn't work. If you start having one guy like that or one person like that, it becomes very hard to work in that team. And sometimes they get to a high position and they start hiring people like that, and then it breaks the entire culture of the studios. And that's really bad, right? So we have to nurture that good culture, so the environment is good for everyone. And soft skills are going to do that, not your art skills. You can be the best artist and be so hard to work with, and you could be okay artist and be the best to work with, because you help so much. Your impact may not be as pretty, but it's more impactful, right? I think like that. I think my contribution is not as pretty as my fellow character artists. They produce much prettier work than I do, 100%. Like my portfolio has almost no professional stuff, because I don't like taking credit for the work of our external partners, but I know my impact is big because I'm helping people inside the studio. I'm taking the load off other people. I'm assisting them, right? So that makes me so happy. And it kind of takes, depending on what you think, right? It takes some maturity to understand that, and understand that, like, those being that person in the studio environment is so important, way more than being an amazing artist, way more. Yeah, because we're working with people, right? So for people as well, with people and for the people. We are making games for people. So
Lily?
thank
All
you,
right.
brother.
I have one more question. I'm back here again. I can't help myself asking that question. Hopefully that's okay.
Oh yeah.
So I guess my dream title, my dream long down the road kind of goal is to become a director. And that's really what that's kind of my long-term vision, to become a director. I love the whole process. Like, for me, when it comes to film and games equally, I like every part of the process, like from 3D to the screenwriting to even the business side. I find a lot of interest in, but most of the creative side as well. So I guess my question is, from your experience and who you know, I've been hearing a range of different answers about this. I've asked a couple other professional 3D artists, like, hey, is it possible to go from being a 3D artist, like a mid to senior level, to becoming a director? And they say
Oh
no.
yeah.
I've heard
No,
no
what?
multiple times. Yes, I've
No,
been
that's
told, like, it's not
crazy.
how it works. Yeah, no, I'm not kidding.
Do you know Glauco Longi?
I don't, unfortunately.
Yeah, he's the character director here at Sony Santa Monica, and
Oh, wow.
he is a character artist, right, at heart, and he's a character director. He was an art director at previous studios. So Raf Grossetti was the art director for the entire SMS studio. He started as a character artist. Our current art director, Dem, he was an environment artist. So that's crazy. That makes no sense. Maybe it's hard to become an art director if you don't do art, right? Maybe I cannot remember anything like that from the top of my head, but if you are an artist and you want that for a career, if that's something that aligns with your goals, you can always become that, right?
Okay.
And then again, being an art director, it can mean so many things, right? And it all depends on the studio you are, depends on the team, depends on so many things. So
the structure, who's in charge, who's not in charge. Yeah,
exactly.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, you already answered my question pretty fast. I know somebody else here wants to ask a question. I had one more question, but I'll get off the stage and let Eugene ask a question. That's okay with everyone else here. I don't want to take up more time. You already answered that so fast, so it's like, okay, that's solved.
That's all good. All good. Thanks for your question, Lily. Yeah. Don't be sorry about asking questions.
Thank
That's
you. I appreciate it. All right, kick me out of here. I'll get off the stage.
Thanks, Lily.
We have Eugenio.
Yeah.
There.
How do I leave?
Good night. Hello. Can you hear me?
Hello, my friend. How's it going?
Hello, man.
I miss
How
you.
are you? Me too,
Good,
bro.
good.
Me too.
How you doing?
I'm fine, bro. Thanks for asking. And you?
Yeah, I'm great, man.
Fine.
Better now as well. Like having you here is amazing, man.
my God,
I love you.
Yeah, I love you too. So it's time to know if I know how to speak in English.
There you go.
Let's
there
see.
you go.
So, I, like you, I have one goal on my career. I have one specifically a studio who I want to work. I told you that there are studios, the Warner Bros. Games, and I am almost in finishing my first game character. It's a Sub-Zero character for games, AAA, and I would like to know how can I make my first contact with the studio. You understand?
Yeah.
How was for you made your first contact with Blizzard, for example? I would like to know how it was.
Yeah, so for me, Blizzard, I did apply before traveling to the US in 2019, right? But I just got a no. They just, when I finished my wizard character, I think I applied the first time, but it was the only character I had in my portfolio. So they just said no, right? And then I wasn't discouraged. I just understood that I'm just applying, but I don't have any expectations. And that's something you should do, right? You're doing your first character. After you finish it, apply it. Send your portfolio. Even if there is only one character there, eventually there's going to be two, and then you apply again. And there's going to be three, and then you apply again. Each time better and better. Send message to people that work in the studio. Go to the credits of the games and see who works there, right? So this is, I did all this, right? I made, I just cold messaged so many people from Blizzard. And it was really important because when I met those people in real life here, in like at Zebra Summit, for example, it was so nice, right? And they become part of your journey as well. Like ask for pointers, ask for feedback from those artists working in the studio, and be honest. Like you can send a message to them and say, "Hey, I want to work with you. Can you help me and give some feedback on my work?" Man, I cannot express enough how much this is appreciated and so rare, because people are scared to do that. Now, let me tell you, if people do that with me, I get so happy. I get so happy because that shows such courage. And for example, you just coming here and turning your webcam and talking in English, which is not your first language, that shows courage. You are brave. That's why one of the main reasons I believe that you are going to be able to achieve what you want, because you are brave. You have that on in you, right? So you're gonna keep pushing. You're gonna keep doing projects. You're gonna be there. You're gonna say, "Hey, I'm here." Like you know how you approached me on the events, and you talked to me, and we became friends. So keep being like that, man. Keep being yourself. You are a great guy. You're a great guy, and you're gonna be amazing artist. And whichever studio hires you, they're gonna be so lucky. Yeah, so lucky.
Thanks, man. Thanks for your words. So, when I finish my first game project, I need to immediately apply for the studio, asking for
Yes.
feedback, asking for how can I
Ask
be
for
a
feedback to the
better
artist. Yeah, ask for feedback
with the
from the
artist.
artist. Yeah, and before you finish the work, right? In my experience, people really don't like if you send a finished project to them and ask for feedback. People don't really like that because they feel like, oh, you're asking for feedback, but you don't want to change. So just send it when it's finished, right? So send it before it's finished, right? And ask for feedback. So you can actually apply the feedback if it's relevant, right? Of course, some feedbacks may not be good, but probably it's gonna help you, right? Having different opinions on that, it can help you a lot. So getting that out there and asking for the feedback, it's gonna show you are willing to learn. And honestly, taking feedback is such a huge part of the job, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. I think this is all. And so, let me see. Have one more thing. I think now don't. But if I
You
had
can
some
reach me
questions, I
out.
can.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
you
Thanks,
can
man.
always send me a
Thanks.
message. Yeah, no, thank you, man. Love you.
Thank you.
Thank for the life. Love you too. Goodbye.
Bye, man.
So my move to audience isn't working, by the way, so you might have to press the button. It just doesn't work. Last question from Shara.
Oh, the last one.
I think I like this question. That was a great question too, by the way. But I like this question too. So I'm trying to apply to new 3DG Ed. Yeah, it's late. Sorry. Next year, and I have like less than a year to make a portfolio. What are the things I should focus on my portfolio?
New 3DG. I don't know what's new 3DG is.
Yeah, me neither.
If you could just type real quick, Shara, what it is. It's a university. New let me see. I just really quickly type what new 3DG is. It's college school. Okay. Have less than a year portfolio. Okay. Yeah, no. See, it's college and school. The level they're expecting is not professional, right? You don't need to pressure yourself to become a professional level artist in 1 year, right? So what I think it's important is to show your process and go over the process, right? So if you want to do a character, do a bust, for example, only from here the chest to the head, and go over the entire process. It doesn't matter if it doesn't look that great, but showing that you can go from beginning to end, it's really important, especially if you want to enter a learning institution, right? So high poly, low poly, UVs, bakes, textures, and lighting and presentation, right? So these are all important, and then you do one of that, and I think the rest you can focus only on sculpting, right? At least for to enter college, right? We are not talking about getting into the industry or becoming a professional, but just showing art, because sculpting is the most fundamental skill you gotta have as a character artist. Of course, back in the days, people didn't sculpt, right? So you had another skills. But since nowadays we make all the silhouettes, everything with sculpting ZBrush, it's the most important. But then it's texture and sculpting, right? You have to be really good in both, so your character looks good. If your UVs are bad and your topology is bad, I mean, it's not ideal, right? But it's better than having like a bad high poly or a bad sculpture, right? Because in the end, in many cases, understand you will need to understand UVs and understand topology, how they work and why they're important. But sometimes in the big studios, you don't even do it, right? You just need to know how to do it because you need to see if it's good, right? But yeah, focus on making one small project that goes through the entire pipeline, and focus the rest on high poly sculpting in ZBrush.